Hi, my name's Stephanie Emmerich, and I'm with Boys Town Press. And today we have with us teacher and author Gina Prosch. Thank you so much for joining us today, Gina.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Gina, you're one of our newest authors at Boys Town Press, so we're so excited here, excited to talk to you today about your new book, Joy, You Find What You Look For. But first, I would like you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into writing.
Okay, so it's a kind of a classic path. I started as an English major in college and I went on for a master's degree in English. I taught English for um, several years at a liberal arts college in South Carolina. And then that really wasn't just quite the right fit. I didn't feel like I wanted to go on for PhD and that sort of thing. So opted to go into business with my husband. But along the way, while I was working at the college, he and I self-published a comic book together during the 1990s. And we ran a nationwide comic strip called Comics and Emma Davenport that ran in a comic book newspaper, the Comics Buyer's Guide. And so we worked on that together. And so that was kind of my first foray into writing. And then after I left teaching, I started to do more writing, nonfiction pieces for magazines, and just your straight freelance sort of writing. I've written a lot of copy for brochures and websites and all of that sort of thing as well. Um, my husband has always wanted to write, and it just kind of evolved over time. I think I want to try my hand at this. I want to do this for myself, and so. Um, that's kind of how it all came to be. And the Joy book actually came out of a Joy experiment that I had done online for many, many years. Starting in 2012, I ran a This Day's Joy post on my Facebook feed. So every single day for it ended up being like more than 10 years, I would post something to Facebook, something that was good, positive, happy, upbeat, uplifting. And so I realized through the course of that work that I found what I was looking for. When I was looking for good things, well, geez, they jumped out at me because I was really consciously trying to find them. By the same token, you know, I did an inverse experiment for a while, and it was like, what's the bad thing for the day? Well, I could find a lot of those things too if that's what my focus was. It was just that I ended up the day a lot happier when I was focused on looking for things that were good things, things that were positive things. And so that's that is the background of the Joy book, the Joy Kids book. Um, and I know when you're writing for kids, when you're dealing with kids, it has to be a very narrow. You've got 30 pages. You don't have time to write the great American novel. You have to deal with one thing in a really tight nutshell. And so that kind of joy, you find what you look for, it it fell really nicely into something for kids. And I think with so many headlines about mental health crisis with our youth and things like that, and it becomes so easy, for every bad thing that you see, you need multiple good things to bring that back up. So that was my kind of my goal and my motivation for doing a book for kids.
Well, you definitely achieved it with this new book, Joy, You Find What You Look For. And your main character is Holly. And
Mhm.
Holly is, if you could tell us a little bit about, this is one where you think of joy. Yeah, and joy is such an important thing in everyone's life. Hard for kids and hard for adults, to think how do we help and, impart that and empower kids to find that joy. And this book does such a fantastic job of, like you said, doing that in 30 pages. Can you just tell us a little bit about the book?
Um, so Holly is having a bad day. Everyone has had a bad day. It doesn't matter if you're a big kid or a little kid or a grown-up kid. There are days that it seems like everything goes wrong. And that's where Holly has experienced her day. And she gets in the car and, mom's got some snacks, mom's got some treats, and all she can talk about is everything that went wrong. And it's like, there's something that went right here. So mom has her uh, play a little game on the ride home and look for something specific, red pickup trucks, which is funny because that pulls out of my life. When my son was little, we went to the YMCA for swimming lessons, and there was a red pickup truck that swerved in front of our car at a stoplight. And we were like, oh my gosh, this guy in this red pickup is crazy. And so Wyatt got the idea that like every red pickup truck was crazy. And so for a period of time, every time we went everywhere, Mom, look out, there's a red pickup truck. Mom, look out, there's a red pickup truck. So I spent a lot of my time looking for red pickup trucks for a while. But we realized that if we were looking for those red pickup trucks, we really didn't notice if there were yellow pickup trucks or green pickup trucks or blue pickup trucks because our focus was on the red pickup trucks. And so I kind of used that in the Holly book to, say that you're finding the things that you look for, because she doesn't think that she saw any yellow cars. There weren't any yellow cars out there, and there were indeed yellow cars. Mom saw lots of yellow cars. And so that's kind of the game that they play on the ride home. And then that becomes part of a larger lesson on how you start to look for good things, for joyous things during a day.
And I love that, as I was reading this book to get ready to talk to you, I, got to that and I thought, oh, okay, her mom is just trying to kind of divert her attention. And then I went on and you kind of throw for a loop and you say, oh, I get it. And you look for what I love is that longer learning. It's that process that Holly went through. It's not telling at kids, this is what you
Yes.
should be doing. It's helping her find her way. And you did that beautifully in and helping adults get that perspective of, we all know it's really good to help kids learn along the process, do it in a neutral time when they're ready to hear it. Because really, Holly, when she got in that car at the end of her day, she wasn't ready to hear, oh, look for all the positive things. Mom brought you a cupcake. This is a great day. She wasn't ready to hear that. But you
No,
helped.
she needed a
Yeah.
lot of empathy. She
Yes.
needed empathy with where she was right now because, I mean, as an adult, there's nothing that makes you feel cheerier or happier than when you're feeling down and upset and somebody says, "Oh, don't feel that way. You're just totally wrong for feeling that way." It's like, thanks a heck of a lot. I feel so much better because I feel bad now, not only because I felt bad because of whatever happened, but now I failed at the way I should have responded to that. That really doesn't help change the way you're looking at a situation. And so this was a way for to try to get that empathy part of the equation across. You know, just meet the kid where the kid is and then work towards something, like you say, when they're ready to hear it, when they're ready to process that.
Yeah. And as adults, we just want to fix, we want to help them feel better and do that. But, that's where we, I really appreciate the way that you wrote the story to help us feel comfortable saying it's okay for kids to, get through that. We can't wipe it away. There's no magic wand. And it's
Yes.
more of the opportunity to help them when the bigger growth of by the time that Holly and her mom got through everything, she learned such a big lesson.
Mhm. Exactly. And the thing that is I like about the way that was constructed and what I was trying to do was give Holly agency in her life. Um,
Yes.
she is the one that's choosing at the end to start looking for things. She doesn't have somebody telling her what she should feel or how she should feel, but she has agency. She starts to take ownership of her own situation and say, "Look, I can go through my day and rethink what happened to me. I can do that for myself. And if I can start to do it for myself today, maybe I can do it for myself tomorrow or the next day or the day after that." And so trying to also communicate that sense of ownership of one's own life, that sense of agency is part of what's going on also in the book.
Now, let's talk about this is your first book in a
Mhm.
series of books for
Right.
with Holly, and
Mhm.
you have it's the Holly's Choice series.
Yes.
So it's joy, hope, and love. Talk about
Mhm.
what's coming up next.
So the next book, which I've just started seeing the initial sketches that Kyle is putting together, and he will be doing the illustrations for that. So the character of Holly will look the same throughout. Um, so the next book is entitled Hope, More Than Wishful Thinking, and it's a lot of that. I think kids sometimes think, I think adults sometimes think, I think I sometimes think that all I have to do is like, oh, cross my fingers and hope that everything's going to work out. And that's not exactly a strategy, because there are things that you have to do to have that best hopeful outcome, and those are some of the lessons that Holly's going to be talking about with her mom in this upcoming book. She starts out with a lot of wishful thinking, and it doesn't actually work out so well for her. So
Well, and
she learns a better way.
I love the idea of Holly's choice,
Mhm,
because that's where this really is empowering to help kids see, they, like you said, their own agency, they do have control, even as young children, and helping them see that they do have choices. And
mhm,
the lovely relationship with how her mom is there, and having adults of helping to empower kids to also know, we're here to help. And
mhm.
that tool of asking for help, accepting it, processing through it, that's a wonderful, wonderful thing too. So that next book sounds amazing. And so that we very much look forward to that one, and everything that you have, that future to come from you. It's just great.
Well, thank you so much. It's been just such a wonderful positive experience with Boys Town. Working with everyone there, it's been just a really really wonderful thing. And I have um, I think one of the things that I enjoy most is that they're very supportive. You guys are very supportive of me trying to get my idea across and finding a way to really help fine tune that. Because anytime you write something, I mean, I've taught writing long enough that there's this. You've got to. I always say, dare to suck. Um, you've got to dare to be bad, because the first time it's not necessarily going to come out great, and so you have to keep working and honing and all of that part of the process. And it's been really really wonderful to because we went through a couple of different iterations of what the series could be called. It could be called this or this or this, and just playing with what would be the best overall overarching idea for this. And so Holly's Choice came about after a little bit of back and forth, and it's been really wonderful. So the last book that I'm currently working on is Love, and that is I haven't decided what the subtitle is going to be yet. It'll follow the same pattern, though. You find what you look for, more than wishful thinking. So it'll be love something. But in that book, the idea is that it's not just something that you say. That love is something that you do. Yeah, and concentrating on the verb part of love. And so that's I think where Holly's going to be next in the next book that's coming down the pike.
Oh, that sounds great. And that, again, the I love children's books. They are so wonderful for children, but also for adults. You think of all you can accomplish in a short 30
Mhm,
some pages, and then also sharing that with your process, because that's important
mhm,
for the kids and the parents and everyone who's reading the book. This wasn't something you just wrote down and said, "Oh, here, done." It's a process, and it's okay to work through, and
mhm.
like you said, not have it go. The first draft is not the final draft.
Absolutely not. And I think that is just a great life lesson that you get from writing. Um, if you're writing and it's not okay, well, that's okay. You can keep working on it. I don't think anyone wants to think that their life peaked when they were, 8. You want to keep improving yourself. You want to keep getting better. You want to keep working through things and reworking things so that you keep becoming the best possible version of yourself. And that's true for an 8-year-old, an 18-year-old, or a 48-year-old. You want to keep working to become a better version of yourself in as many ways as possible.
Yeah, and that definitely ties in with joy, of where
Mhm,
it is one where you find what you look for. It does take practice, and it is,
mhm,
and you think about, it really is a skill,
mhm.
and it is a choice. So
Yes.
so many key lessons in this first book and this entire series. And Gina, we're just so happy that you are sharing that with us and that you joined us today to introduce Holly to everyone. And we look forward to reading more of her stories and learning more of her lessons along with her.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It's been great talking to you today.